There are many traditional festivals in China, and one of the most important ones is the Mid-Autumn Festival, which is a day for family reunion in China because we highly value the ideas of strong family ties. This festival is on the 15th of August according to the Chinese lunar calendar. On that day, many people will go back home as soon as they finish their work or study. One of the family members will cook delicious food and they have dinner together. After their dinner, they will take their tables and chairs out and sit under a tree to enjoy the full moon, which most of the time is extremely bright on that day. At the same time, they will have some fresh fruits such as grapes and the most important traditional food, moon cakes. In China, we celebrate this festival because of a legend. We believe that there is a girl named Chang'er. In order to become a fairy, she left her husband and flew to the moon. She got an eternal life, but she was very lonely. Her favorite food was mooncakes, so we had mooncakes in honor of her.
Describe a festival that is important in your country. You should say when the festival occurs, what you do during it, what you like or dislike about it, and explain why the festival is important to you. There are many traditional festivals in China. The most important is without a doubt the Spring Festival. It's better known as the Chinese New Year in other countries. In China, we normally use the lunar calendar when we celebrate traditional festivals. The Spring Festival starts from January the 1st on the lunar calendar and finishes on the 15th. It usually falls in January or February on the solar calendar. There are many traditions during the Spring Festival. Even though they vary in different areas in China, there are still quite a few common ones across the country. For example, pretty much all families hang calligraphy couplets on their doors. And people set off a lot of firecrackers and fireworks during this period. I mean, a lot. The highlight of the Spring Festival is the New Year's Eve dinner. A typical image of it would be a whole family sitting together at a round table, eating way too much food while watching the New Year's Gala show. The Spring Festival is very important for us Chinese because it's the only time of the year that we can forget about all the stress from work and enjoy with family and friends. What I like most about the Spring Festival is the hope that it brings to people, the hope for a better coming year.
Talking about the Chinese festival, maybe first come to your mind is the Spring Festival, the Lantern Festival, and even the Dragon Festival. However, today, I would like to introduce a novel and unique Chinese festival, the Double 11, which is also called the Bear Sticks Festival. On that day, buyers and consumers of China swarm to buy the big deal products and splash out to make money, which it also turned out to be a spending frenzy now. The unofficial Chinese festival went public in about 10 years ago as a celebration of single freedom, and Alibaba, one of the China's e-commerce giants and behemoths, repackaged it as an event of huge discounts and encouraging singles to cheat themselves with retail therapy. And in this year, the company launched about more than 215 billion US dollars. It tore through last year's record and ranked first in the 20-hour spanning blitz. In tandem with the development and prosperity of this festival, some people blame it because it involves the manic consumerism, which contrasts with the virtue of frugality. But I advocate this prosperity and popularity of this festival because it is flavor to our Chinese festivals. We not only have some traditional historical festivals, but also have some modern and unique ones. And I also think that hundreds of millions of China's middle-class people seem to be more tightly on their pockets. And we can also spend a rational and exciting Double 11.
Describe an important event that you celebrated. that you attended a celebration? Well, in terms of this topic, I'd like to talk about my sister's wedding. Last year, my sister had her wedding. It's probably the most beautiful wedding I've ever attended in my life. It's a pretty cool one. My sister is 3 years older than me. She got married in last June. It's a perfect wedding for me. I really love to tell you something about it. Well, first of all, I really think this is a very, very good ceremony. They had this ceremony at a local, very fancy hotel in this ballroom. Everybody's happy for them, and it's so romantic. And a lot of guests, including me, were moved into tears, especially the moment my sister, the bride, the most beautiful woman in the world at that time, walking down the aisle to the groom, my brother-in-law, and they exchanged rings and they kissed. That's the wedding I wanted to have. I always want to have. It's so romantic. And plus, another thing I like to say is that after the ceremony, over this wedding dinner, we had a great food. We had everybody singing and dancing, and my father made probably one of the most important speeches in his life. His speech is really funny, but at the same time, really touching. You can totally feel the love, the passion that he has for his daughter, his first daughter. You know, I told my father that this is my dream wedding. I really want to have a wedding like this in the future. But you know what? All my father said was, "Okay, if we could still afford it, come on." I suddenly realized that probably my father loves my sister more than me. Anyhow, this is a perfect wedding. We have the perfect music, the perfect food, the perfect guests, and most importantly, the perfect couple. Great. Thank you for your time.
Describe one of the traditional celebration here in China. Well, I would like to talk about the Dragon Boat Festival, which is the holiday usually happens in May. So usually normally in the States we would have 7 days holiday. Oh no, just 3 days holiday. Right now it's changed from the government celebration bureau. Well, it would be the day that most of individuals here in China, they would purchase the zhongs. It's more like a sticky rice package, right? Like wrapped with the lotus leaves. Yeah, it's quite of delicious for the smell, right? The taste of the leaves. It would penetrate, right? Premiere into the whole pack of the sticky rice. Still, that's tradition. That's one of the fabulous things about the traditions. Kind of like tasty or special food. For myself, I'm really enjoyed about the fatty meat inside. Well, so another thing that quite of popular in these days was the Dragon Boat competition, right? So most of the county or town here in different province, as long as they have the conditions close to the river or a lake, they would hold the competitions in their own territory. So most of those events are in the commemorate of Qu Yuan, who was one of the outstanding writer here in China. The reason why people would like to pass on his spirit or the idea into the next generation was that he was so proactive. In his daily life, he focused on study so much that almost every day he would read a lot of books and also keep on marking on those nice word of vocabulary that he encountered in his study. And in this way, his literacy or maybe education level is much more above the average. And also back in that time, people called him the poet master. Right, so another thing really admirable from him was his patience. Even though by turned down over hundreds of times from his emperor, he still keep on insist on his opinions, which is to reform the complete region or the systems back in that time for his own country. Yes, for sure that would not be quite of acceptable back in the old bureaucracy, and also it will be quite of untraditional. But still, that kind of preservation is kind of respectable, and also that's the reason why so many people still want to learn from him.
Okay, here is the part 2 topic of festival. Let's have a listen.
There are many traditional festivals in China, and one of the most important ones is the Midautumn Festival.
Okay, so this is a pretty standard introduction saying there are many of this particular topic, and the one you're going to talk about is X. The one I'm going to talk about is the Midautumn Festival,
which is a day for family reunion in China.
Here we have the relative clause, which is a day for blah 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 blah. Family reunion. Mid-Autumn Festival, family reunion. Yeah, I guess so. In Taiwan too?
China, because we highly value the ideas of strong family ties.
Ties. Yeah, instead of using the word connection, why not use the word tie? And here we have the verb value.
This festival is on the 15th of August according to the Chinese lunar calendar.
There's nothing wrong with saying according to, although I think it's a little bit more common to say on. So it's on the 15th of August on the Chinese lunar calendar. Chinese lunar calendar. I don't know if there's a difference between the Chinese lunar calendar and just the lunar calendar. Isn't that the same thing? I'm not sure. Anyway.
Chinese lunar calendar. On that day, many people will go back home as soon as they finish their work or study. One of the family members will cook delicious food and they have dinner together.
Okay, the problem with this is, I guess it's not a major problem, but look at this here. One of the family members will cook delicious food and they have dinner together. It's just the grammar is a bit simple. So why not say, let's start from here. This festival, held on the 15th of August on the traditional lunar calendar, is a day on which many people return home. And then you can combine these two sentences into one. And I don't know, I would leave out this sentence about many people go home as soon as they finish work or study. That's kind of implied. So on this day, families have a traditional meal together, cooked by one of the family members. I would swap those two around, just give you a little bit more variety in grammar. Remember, one of the criteria in grammar is the range, not only the accuracy, also the range.
Dinner together. After their dinner, they will take their tables and chairs out and sit under a tree to enjoy the full moon.
So, tree and full moon. Okay.
Which most of the time is extremely bright on that day.
most of the time. Why is it most of the time? I would put the bright just with moon. So after dinner, the families move outside to enjoy the bright full moon, or the family moves outside to enjoy each other's company under a bright full moon. Here he says which, but I'm just giving you some ideas. You don't always have to use relative clauses.
The time is extremely bright on that day. At the same time, they will have some fresh fruits.
At the same time, okay. I don't know. At that time, they'll have some fresh fruit.
Such as grapes, and the most important traditional food, moon cakes. In China, we celebrate this festival because of a legend. We believe that there is a girl named
I think it was a girl, because she went to the moon, right?
Chang'er. In order to become a fairy, she left her husband and flew to the moon. She got an eternal life, but she was very lonely.
She got an eternal life. Okay, so she became immortal. I mean, if you say she got an eternal life, it's not wrong. But she became immortal, but lived a lonely existence?
Her favorite food was mooncakes, so we had mooncakes in honor of her.
Why is this in the past tense? We have mooncakes in honor of her, or to honor her. Okay, whoa, this response is very much under length. It's only 1 minute. Very short.
Describe a festival that is important in your country. You should say when the festival occurs, what you do during it, what you like or dislike about it, and explain why the festival is important to you. There are many traditional festivals in China.
Okay, so pretty much the same pattern.
The most important is without a doubt the Spring Festival. It's better known as the Chinese New Year in other countries. In China, we normally use the lunar calendar when we celebrate traditional festivals.
Usually? Okay, so here he just says lunar calendar. He doesn't say Chinese lunar calendar.
The Spring Festival starts from January the 1st.
Something cannot start from. It's not starts from the 1st on the lunar calendar and finishes. So it begins on, not starts from. It begins on January the 1st and lasts until the 15th.
And finishes on the 15th. It usually falls in January or February on the solar calendar.
I don't know, solar calendar. Do people use this phrase, solar calendar?
The solar calendar. There are many traditions during the Spring Festival. Even though they vary in different areas in China, there are still quite a few common ones across the country.
Okay, so they share some.
For example,
Oh, I do like this pretty much all. Pretty much all families.
pretty much all families hang calligraphy couplets on their doors.
Now, obviously that is not hand, it's hang. Pretty much. Yeah, that's a great phrase to use. Hang calligraphy couplets on their door. Where's the word door now? On their door. If you're not Chinese, maybe you're not familiar with couplets. This is not a word everyone is going to use.
It's on their doors. And people set off a lot of firecrackers and fireworks during this period.
Oh, I love the fact that he uses the right verb. The verb for firecrackers and fireworks is set off, not play with, set off.
I mean, a lot.
Okay, if I were him, I would just emphasize that a little bit more. I mean, a lot.
The highlight of the Spring Festival is the New Year's Eve dinner. A typical image of it would be a whole family sitting together at a round table, eating way too much food while watching the New Year's gala show.
What on earth is a New Year's gala show? Is that something on TV? I think it is. Maybe he could have added it, because not everyone knows what this is.
Much food while watching the New Year's gala show.
On TV.
The Spring Festival is very important for us Chinese
A little bit of stress on very.
because it's the only time of the year that we can forget about all the stress from work and enjoy with family and friends.
Everything was good until you got to this last phrase. Okay, we can forget about all the stress from work and enjoy what? Here is the preposition with, right? So what's the noun? So enjoy, there's a noun missing. Enjoy our time with family and friends? Or we need some noun here before the preposition.
What I like most about the Spring Festival is the hope that it brings to people. The hope for a better coming year.
Okay. Lengthwise, yeah, this is almost 2 minutes. Like 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Talking about the Chinese festival.
Nope, nobody was talking about a Chinese festival. Please do not use this introduction in part 2.
Maybe first come to your mind as
The first that came to my mind, not your mind. Why is it your?
the Spring Festival, the Lantern Festival, and even the Dragon Festival. However, today, I would like to introduce a novel and unique Chinese festival.
I guess this word is Chinese, but I couldn't quite make it out. I do like the adjectives novel and unique. So novel meaning it's new. Is it new?
Chinese festival, Double 11.
I guess if it's a name, we should capitalize it. Double 11. Okay, so November 11th.
Double 11, which is also called the Bear Sticks Festival.
Okay, this pause here tells me she's not sure about the name either.
The Bear Sticks.
Where's the pause?
The Bear Sticks Festival.
I never heard of this. I don't know what this word is. Okay, so Double 11 also has another name, and the name is something. I put this word here, but I can't imagine that spastics is the right word. It can't be.
On that day, buyers and consumers of
Buyers, consumers. Buyers and consumers are the same thing, kind of. So choose one. Don't use them both.
China swarm to buy.
Swarm is good verb. A lot of people doing the same thing. It's like a swarm. Like in the news recently, we saw some news of swarms of the locusts.
Big deal products.
No, it's not big deal products. Maybe big ticket products. If it's like an expensive product, it's a big ticket product, but not big deal.
Big deal products and spy shop to make money. Deal products and spy shop to make money.
I think she's saying spend, but it sounds like special a little bit.
Which it also turned out to be a spending frenzy now.
I think she said spending frenzy. Spending frenzy is good. It's when people spend a lot of money in like a crazy way. But her pronunciation is pretty poor. It's difficult to quite make out what she's saying.
The unofficial Chinese festival went public.
Like this here. I don't know what she's saying here.
The unofficial Chinese festival went
Nope, can't make it out.
public in about 10 years ago.
Okay, so for 10 years ago, we don't need the N. So the festival went public 10 years ago. I don't think festivals go public. You cannot say go public when it comes to festivals. So people started to observe the festival about 10 years ago. The verb is not go public, it's observed. The festival started to be observed about 10 years ago.
As a celebration of single freedom.
If you just say single, people are not going to know that you're talking about people. Because here, when she says single, she means people who are single. So as a celebration of the single, or as a celebration of the freedom of the single lifestyle, why don't you say single lifestyle, then people know you're talking about singles in the sense of people who are not married or who are not in a relationship. So as a celebration of the freedom of the single lifestyle,
freedom. And Alibaba, what
why did you say "and" here? We've got the freedom, she says freedom and then there's the name of a company. Freedom and company. Why are they used together?
one of the China's
For countries, there's no "the" usually.
commerce giants and behemoths.
It's behemoth. And why do you say giant and behemoth? It's the same thing. We've got two words that mean the same thing. Choose one. And this word is pronounced behemoth.
Repackaged it as an event of huge discounts and encouraging singles to treat themselves with retail therapy.
Treat themselves with retail therapy. Retail therapy is a great phrase to use. People buy things to make themselves feel better. That's retail therapy. Repackage it as an event with huge discounts. And why? This is in the past, but this is not in the past. So I would say repackaged it as an event with huge discounts and encouraged singles to treat themselves to some retail therapy.
And in this year,
And this year, there's no "in." And this year,
the company looked
I don't know what that word is. It can't be Captain Log, but man, that's what it sounds like.
this year, the company looked
Could be.
launched
Launched.
about more than 215 billion US dollars.
Okay, so I can't catch what this is. Launched something and then some amount of money. You can't launch money. Meaning of this is lost on me.
Billion US dollars. It tore through
Tore through. Okay, like I think she's saying like it broke some kind of record. Tore through, yeah.
last year's report.
But why tore through a report? Isn't it record? Last year's record? But she says report.
It tore through last year's report around.
Oh, it is? Oh, she is saying record.
It tore through last year's report around.
Oh, I know what happened. What happened was she confused the verb and the noun. She said record, but it should be record, not record.
It tore through last year's report ranked first in the 20-hour spanning blitz.
Okay, but this I can't get. Okay, it tore through last year's record. Yes, great sentence or great phrase. Next part I can't make out.
Ranked first in
Around first.
20-hour spanning blitz.
I don't know what that means.
In tandem with the development and prosperity of this festival,
Okay, there's some good here and also some not so good. In tandem with. Okay, that's good. So the two things together. But I don't know what the two things are. I guess it's the development of the festival, the prosperity of the festival. But countries can be prosperous. Countries can have prosperity. People can have prosperity. Festivals? No, that doesn't make sense.
festival, some people blame it
Blame it for what?
because it involves the manic consumerism, which contracts with
I'm guessing she's trying to say the word conflicts, which conflicts with the virtue of frugality, but she says contracts. This is not the right word. The virtue of, and then here with the noun frugality. Okay, so Frugality is like the opposite of the manic spending and the opposite of consumerism.
The virtue of frugality. But I advocate this prosperity.
I advocate this prosperity. Again, there's some good. I advocate this is good. Is a good word to use. So if you are a proponent of something, you are an advocate of that. You advocate that. I advocate, but then she says, I advocate this prosperity. That I don't understand. And popularity of the festival.
And popularity of this festival gives it its flavor to our Chinese festivals.
Its flavor to our Chinese festivals. Again, I don't understand that. It's flavored to suit our Chinese population. It's flavored to suit our Chinese buying habits, maybe. But it's suited to our Chinese festivals. If something is flavored too, it means it's like designed for a specific purpose. Now, what's the purpose here? Chinese festivals? That cannot be a purpose.
Chinese festivals. We not only have some traditional historical festivals.
I guess this word is traditional, but I don't know.
Traditional historical festivals, but also has some modern and
We have, also have, this have. The subject is still we, so this has to be have.
unique ones. And I also think that hundreds of millions of China's middle-class people seem to
Why don't we can drop the people here. So hundreds of millions of China's middle class, because the middle class is composed of people. We don't need people here. So hundreds of millions of the Chinese middle class
seem to be more tightly on their pockets.
be more tightly on their pockets. This part here about seem to be more tightly. Tightly is an adverb. It doesn't go with more. Anyway, the phrase I think is tighten their purse strings. If you don't spend a lot of money, you tighten your purse strings. But that's not what she said here. There's some problems with the grammar, also some problems with the vocabulary.
And we can also spend a rational and exciting Double 11.
And there's an and here, which I don't understand. I don't know what the connection is between tightening the purse strings and I guess the rationality is because people don't overspend. Okay. She was very ambitious with her vocabulary. Often she made mistakes. She tried a range of vocabulary and a range of grammar, not successfully.
Describe an important event that you celebrated, that you attended. A celebration.
This is a confusing cue. Is it attend or is it celebrate?
Well, in terms of this topic,
Oh, no. Don't use this phrase. There's no in terms of this topic. Leave this out. Just say, I'd like to talk about blah, 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 blah.
to talk about my sister's wedding. Last year, my sister had her wedding. It's probably
It's last year, so it was.
the most beautiful wedding I've ever attended in my life. It's a pretty cool.
Past tense again.
My sister is 3 years older than me. She got married in last June.
Remember, for months, we don't take this preposition here. She got married last June.
It's a perfect wedding for me.
Again, past tense was.
I really love to tell you something about
I'd really love to tell you something about it. Okay, well, go ahead. You're talking now, so you don't need to say this. Just say it.
it. Well, first of all, I really think this is a very, very good ceremony.
Again, use the past tense. It was a very good ceremony. good. Good is not the because he stresses it so much, very, very, and then the adjective is good. Well, isn't there a better adjective than good? Ceremony, memorable. Why not memorable ceremony? Something. I wasn't there. I don't know what it was like. Memorable.
Good ceremony. They had this ceremony at a local, very fancy hotel in the this ballroom.
Let's put a comma there. Why this ballroom? I mean, we are not there now. In a ballroom? In the ballroom? Not this.
In the this ballroom. Everybody's happy for them.
Again, not the past tense. Use the past tense. Use the past tense.
And it's so romantic. And a lot of guests, including me,
Meme? Including me.
were moved into tears.
It's moved to tears. A lot of the guests were moved to tears by what? The beautiful ceremony? He talks about the ceremony here, and then he talks about all of this, and then he talks about people being moved to tears. But this being moved into tears, this should go with the ceremony, not the ballroom. So instead he should have said, okay, I guess maybe, because here he said moved to tears. So emotional ceremony, maybe emotional is a better adjective. So they had a very emotional ceremony, which was held in the basement of a very fancy local hotel. And during the ceremony, which was so romantic, so many of the guests, including myself, were moved to tears. Then you connect the ceremony to the move to tears part.
Including me, were moved into tears. Especially the moment.
Notice here how he says especially.
The moment.
Oh, come on now.
Especially.
But when people talk, they would just say especially, not especially.
The moment my sister, the bride, the most beautiful woman in the world at that time, walking down.
Walked. It was not ed, not ing. Just walked.
The aisle to the groom.
Okay, yeah. Walk down the aisle to the groom.
Walking down the aisle to the groom, my brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law. That's not a bad word to use. Not many people know this one. Well, not that many people.
And they exchanged rings.
There's no duh. They exchanged rings.
Exchanged rings.
Oh.
And they kissed. That's the wedding I wanted to have.
I do like the intonation and the stress here. The wedding I wanted to have. But why isn't it the past tense? Doesn't he want the wedding anymore? That's the kind of wedding I want to have.
Always want to have.
Okay, he changed it there. Okay.
So romantic.
Good use of intonation here.
And plus, another thing I like to say is
Not and plus. And another thing. Plus another thing. But not and plus.
that after the ceremony, over this wedding dinner, we had a great food.
Over, very good. Over dinner. We had, but no great food. We had great food.
We had a great, everybody singing.
We had a great, everyone singing. He doesn't finish this idea. We had a great, what?
Dancing, and
Great time, I guess. We had a great time. Everybody singing and dancing.
my father made probably one of the most important speeches in his life.
Of his life. One of the most important speeches of his life. In his life. I don't know if in is wrong, but usually we say of.
His speech is really funny, but
Again, not past tense. Was really funny.
at the same time, really touching. You can totally
Past tense. You could totally feel the love.
feel the love, the passion that he has.
What? Why does he correct from had to haves? Oh my goodness.
He had the halves.
No, had is right.
Or his daughter. His first daughter.
Youngest daughter, not first daughter. His youngest daughter.
You know. I told my father that this is my dream wedding. I really want to have a wedding like this in the future. But you know what? All my father said was, okay.
It's not it there. All my father said was, okay. Intonation is pretty good. Why is there an there? What?
All my father said was,
Why can I not hear that?
but you know what? All my
Let's change that to comma. Okay, all my father said was.
father said was, okay, if we could still afford it, come on. You know, I suddenly like.
I think the quote probably ends here. I don't think that's part of the quote. If we could still, but this is a quote, so why is this in the past tense? Okay, if we can still afford it. Can.
Come on. You know, I suddenly realized that probably my father.
Ooh, this probably is not in the right place. I suddenly realized that my father probably loves. The adverb should go with the verb. Probably should go with loves.
More than me.
I guess he's kidding.
How? This is a perfect wedding.
Again, not the past tense. This was a perfect wedding.
We have the perfect music.
Again, not past tense. We had perfect music. There's no the. There's no the. There's no the. We had perfect music, perfect food, perfect guests.
The perfect food, the perfect guests, and most importantly, the perfect couple.
Here, maybe the, because we know who the couple are. But I would say a perfect couple.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you don't need to say thank you for your time at the end.
Describe one of the traditional celebration here in China.
Traditional celebration. Let's just throw in an S there. Traditional celebrations. Let's get that down there. Okay. Not sure why there's no S, but there's no S.
Well, I would like to talk about dragon.
Like to infinitive. So this is a base verb. I'd like to talk about Dragon Boat Festival.
Festival, which is the holiday.
Which is a holiday usually held in May, not happen. Festivals are held in May.
Usually happens in May. So usually in normally in the States.
Well, May is not a date. May is a month. So usually during this festival, not in this date, and also the preposition for date is on this date, but May is not a date, May is a month. So usually during this festival, there's no would, this happens all the time, every year. We have a 7-day holiday. There's no S here, because this 7-day is an adjective that describes holiday. Holiday is singular, so we need a preposition. Not a preposition, we need an article. A 7-day holiday.
Normally in the States we would have 7 days holiday. Oh no, just 3 days holiday, right?
A 3-day holiday. A 3-day holiday. Right? Who are you asking here? The examiner? I guess this really is a question. Avoid asking the examiner questions. I mean, especially in part 2. They not going to answer you.
Holiday, right? Now it's changed from the government celebration bureau.
What on earth is that? Is this a thing?
changed from the government celebration bureau.
By. It's been changed by. It's been changed by the celebration bureau. If you change something, it's changed by you.
Well, it would be the day that most of individual here.
Why would? It is the date that most people,
Individuals here in China, they would purchase.
there's no would. There's no past tense. They purchase. And there's no the. We don't put the before food.
Jones. It's more like a sticky rice package, right? Like
Don't ask the examiner questions. Yeah, it's a kind of wrapped, wrapped rice, I guess.
wrapped with the
There's no the again. No article. Why do we need articles here?
just leaves. Yeah, it's quite
There's no of. It's quite delicious for me.
delicious for the smell or the taste.
Did he say me? Oh, sorry. It's quite delicious smell. Delicious smell. Okay, so I think what he tried to say is the leaves smell and taste delicious, but people don't eat the leaves. What is he trying to say here? I don't know. I don't know why he has taste here, because people don't eat the leaves. The leaves are just what's used to wrap the dumpling, not the dumpling, the rice. I'm a little bit confused about the taste.
Smell or the taste of the leaves is would
It would. We don't need the is there.
penetrate, right?
I think permeate. Permeate. The smell of the leaves permeate, not penetrate. Permeate the...
Premiere into the whole pack of the sticky rice.
Okay, permeate. Okay, so the smell of the leaves permeate through the sticky rice.
Whole pack of the sticky rice.
I don't think it's a pack. It just looks like a ball.
Still, that's tradition. That's one of
Why still? There's no contrast here.
the fabulous things about the traditions. Kind of like tasty or special food.
Okay, one of the fabulous things about traditions is the special food. Maybe not the part of. One of the fabulous things about traditions or traditional celebrations is the special food.
For myself, I'm really enjoyed that.
Here we have a be verb with a verb, main verb. We don't need the be verb. I don't know why this is in the past tense. For myself, I really enjoy the fatty meat inside. There's no about. I enjoy the fatty meat inside.
They have the fatty meat inside.
And it's inside, not in sight.
So, another thing that quite of popular in these days was the
So another thing, there's no S, that is quite, no of, popular, that is quite popular. There's no in here. And this is plural because days. So another thing that is quite popular these days. Why is there with here? Is the dragon boat competition.
things that quite of popular in these days was the Dragon Boat competition.
I need to listen to this again.
Another thing that quite of popular in these days was the Dragon Boat
Yeah, I don't know why there's a with there. Is the dragon boat.
competition.
Competitions, because there are thousands of them.
So most of the county or town here
Most of these are countable nouns. So counties or towns,
in different province,
provinces are also countable.
as long as they have the conditions close to the river or
As long as they are situated close to a river or a lake situated close to, not the conditions.
Lake, they would hold.
There's no would. They hold.
The competitions
There's no the here. They hold competitions
in their own territory.
I don't think the towns have territory, really. They have their own. I don't think we need this at all. You can just say, these towns hold their own competitions, or these towns hold competitions.
So most of those events are in the
Are to commemorate. To commemorate.
commemorate of Qu Yuan,
Was.
is one of the who was one of the outstanding writer here in
Outstanding writers. Writers are countable. I thought Julian was a poet. Wasn't he a poet? He wasn't a writer, was he?
China. The reason why people would like to pass
There's no would. The reason why people like to
pass on his spirit or the idea into the next generation was
pass on his spirit or thoughts, I don't know, maybe thoughts, to, not into, to the next generation. You pass things to the next generation. But here we need the present tense because this is true today, right? People do this today. So here we don't need the past tense. To the next generation is that he was super active. I don't know if this is true. Is this true?
he was so proactive.
Did he say super active or did he say so proactive?
Was so proactive.
Oh, yeah, he didn't say super active. He said so proactive. Huh. Well, I don't know if this is true either.
Was so proactive. In his daily life, he focused on study so
Studying. Focus on studying.
much that almost every day he would read a lot of books and also keep on marking on those nice word of vocabulary that he encountered in his study.
Okay. So he was a very studious student who read a lot. This part I don't understand. This should be past tense. He made marks on the nice words of vocabulary that he encountered in his study. Maybe he means he made notes in the books that he read. Because, I mean, that's what you do, right? You make notes.
Nice word of vocabulary that he encountered in his study, and in this way, his literacy or maybe
Literacy, I guess.
education level is much more
Past tense was
above the average.
above average. There's no the. So his level of education was way above average for the time.
Also, back in that time, people called
The average. Let's make this a new sentence because, man, the sentence is out of control. What a run-on sentence this is. Okay.
in that time,
Back in the time, yeah.
people called him the poet master.
Master.
Right. So another thing,
Oh my god, how long is this response? It feels like he's been talking for ages. Let's see. Oh, he's been talking for 2 minutes and 40 seconds already. It feels like it.
really admirable from him.
Admirable. The word is admirable. So another thing that's really admirable about him. Admirable about him.
Really admirable from him
Nope.
was his patience.
Okay.
Even though by sundown,
Oh, what is this word here?
even though by sundown
I don't know. Can't make it out.
over hundreds of times from his emperor,
Oh, I think. Oh, turned down. Even though he was turned down more than 100 times by the emperor.
he still keep on
Past tense. Kept on insisting. Keep on VING. He kept on insisting on his opinions. Okay.
insist on his opinions, which is to reform
Which was
the complete region or
the whole region, not the complete region, the whole region. When you talk about areas, you say whole city, whole country, whole region.
the systems back in that time for
I don't know what system this is.
his own country.
Okay.
Yes, for sure that would not be quite of
There's no of. That would not be acceptable.
acceptable back in the old bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy. The word is bureaucracy.
And also it will be quite of
There's no of. Untraditional. Unconventional.
untraditional.
Conventional.
But still, that kind of preservation
Oh my god, how long is this? Almost 4 minutes. Oh, it's ridiculous.
is
What is this word he's saying here? That kind of perseverance.
that kind of preservation
I think it's perseverance. Perseverance. There's no of.
is quite of respectable, and also that's the reason why so many people still want to learn from him.
Well, okay. Well, here you had somebody talk for almost 5 minutes. You're not going to see that too often.